right, hello, and welcome to Closet Talk. I am your host, Ethan. It is Thursday, March 29th. How are you guys feeling today? It is a beautiful Thursday afternoon outside. I am just loving the spring setting in. My cabin fever has been so intense, and I'm so glad to see the warm weather coming back and the flowers coming out. I'm really just enjoying where I'm at right now. Just in general, enjoying where I'm at with life. I was at the Goodwill today with my girlfriend, and the Goodwill's fun. It's great. You can find all kinds of things there, right? All kinds of cool stuff. And I was looking for shorts because it's been so warm outside. I got to get out of those jeans. That's the only two options guys have is jeans or shorts, but not me. I broadened my horizons a bit. I get like capris out of the women's aisle. You know, women get a vast diversity of clothes. Guys, it's just jeans or shorts, long sleeve or short sleeve. You know, so I think my woman's size is a 13 waist or a 14. I know some girls are out there just like, oh my god, what a pig. If I was the 14, I would die. Um, you won't. It'll be fine. I promise. Yeah, we were at the Goodwill today, and I was looking at shorts, and I was trying on these shorts, and I was like, oh, these are some really comfortable shorts. And I looked in the mirror, and then it just dawned on me that I'm now in that age of my life where I'm wearing shorts above my knees. You know, I'm that guy now. I remember when I was in my teen years, I'm just like, what a dork. Why would you wear shorts above your knees? And now that's me. Because they're comfortable. That's why. And I could care less what you think when you see me. Right? I don't wear it up past the belly button, though. That's weird. My girlfriend does that with her leggings. Like, they come up, like, mid-stomach. I'm like, isn't that, like, uncomfortable? How do you do that? So, anyways, today, I would like to start off, since I'm feeling super present today and not really too concerned with my past or my future, I want to start off today's episode with a little bit of Alan Watts. Alan Watts was a great philosopher, and I listened to a lot of his stuff. He had some really interesting points. There's a billion audio recordings of him on YouTube. Last year when I was out at Burning Man, I actually found I was out on Deep Playa, and I just saw this tiny little light. And for those of you that don't know what Deep Playa is, it's off the main clock and just out into the desert. And I saw this tiny little light out in the distance. I was like, okay, I'm going to ride to that and see what it is. And I showed up, and it was this stand, and they made it like a public library. They're like, take a book and then leave a book. And I was lucky enough to find this Alan Watts book, The Way of Zen, out there. It's a vintage book, too, an original. And I remember just sitting there by my bike. There's nobody else around. It's dead quiet. And I just remember taking the time to be grateful and like talking to the sky, like, I'm going to read this book cover to cover, and when I come back out here, I will be leaving this book back where I found it for the next person to read and enjoy. So, yeah, today is Alan Watts, Mr. Alan Watts, and the thing that I wanted to read of his was, for unless one is able to live fully in the present, the future is a hoax. There is no point whatever in making plans for a future which you will never be able to enjoy. When your plans mature, you will still be living for some other future beyond. You will never, never be able to sit back with full contentment and say, now I have arrived. Your entire education has deprived you of this capacity because it was preparing you for the future instead of showing you how to be alive now. I love that, right? Because think about it. Me anyways, I catch myself doing it all the time, and I don't know, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I catch myself, daydreaming about the future, thinking about the past, dwelling on stuff, and really disassociating myself with what's going on currently around me. It's so easy to do that. And Alan has a great point. Like, tomorrow is not guaranteed. And the past is behind you. The only thing that actually exists currently is what you're living in right now. No matter what situation, where you are, the only thing there is right now. I love that. I felt like it applied to my life a lot, so I just wanted to share it with you guys and see if maybe it's applied to anybody else. Today I wanted to read 2 of my Tumblr posts from last year, and they kind of just tied in to what we're talking about here. So I'll go ahead and read that, and feel free to comment and, do whatever it is that you want to do to participate in the conversation. Let me know your thoughts and opinions as well. So this is a Tumblr post from a year ago. I posted it on my 28th birthday, and the post is called "The Richness Is Now," and here it is. So today, 28 years ago, I was born. When you compare it to the existence of everything else, 28 years isn't even a flinch. At times, my life seemed long, and other times it went by really quick. People say that time flies when you're having fun, but does it really go by quick because of fun? Or does it go by quick because fun means you're present, in the moment, and you forget about dwelling? Today, I rewatched videos that meant the world to me in my teen years. I found myself really sad and longing for that time. I'll be honest, it wasn't even some of the best times of my life. All I really cared about was skateboarding and remaking the videos I saw and being more like the people I admired. After watching the videos of my teen years, I realized how much I took those years for granted. I appreciate them more now than I did then. Today, on the 28th year I've been alive, I realize that the real richness is in the present moment. We all live in the past or the future and forget to enjoy the present moment. In the future, we will all long for what we are living in now. It is so hard to see the current circumstances as a thing to appreciate, but one day you will see why. This has been a hard lesson to be a part of, but it has inspired me to feel and be a part of the present moment, because you never know what one you will be longing for in the future. So I wrote that a year ago, and talking about, being present. And when I wrote that, I wasn't necessarily, at a good point in my life. I was still going through a divorce. I was dealing with a lot of my personal issues. My confidence was fucking at an all-time low. I just couldn't pull it together. And it was like the more I tried, the harder things were. And looking back on those times now, I realized that if I had just stopped worrying about what was going to happen tomorrow or the next day, where I'm going to be working, who I'm going to be with, what experiences I'm going to have, am I going to be poor, am I still going to be struggling? If I just stopped worrying about all of that stuff, I probably would have enjoyed myself a whole lot more and came to the answers I was looking for a whole lot faster. Funny thing happens when you stop thinking about stuff and you just let things happen. It usually tends to unfold in your favor. Alan Watts also had this quote, and he said, no matter what amount of anxiety you have, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So basically, by you caring and worrying and all that stuff, no amount of worry is going to change what is going to happen. So you might as well just be in the moment, enjoy where you are. The fact that you can take a deep breath right now, like, you're alive. You can do anything and everything you want, right? Anytime I go on stage, I try to be super present, and I just try to think of the room around me and everybody laughing and having a great time, talking to people, being really present, not worrying about what's going to happen if I suck this time, or, remember what happened last time when you sucked. Anytime I focus on that before I go up on stage, I have a shit set, and it's because I'm not present with what is happening in this moment. John Halcyon, I met him at Burning Man, and he has this saying that says, be present, have integrity, align with love. He says he uses that anytime he gets scared or when he's in a tough situation. I love it. If you don't know who John Halcyon is, make sure you look him up on YouTube. He runs a YouTube page called Hug Nation, and yeah, he has 1 billion videos. Check him out. He's a really great guy. He was actually on my very first burn, the very first person I had a conversation with on the playa. I remember I wanted to go out there, and I was like, I hope I see Halcyon. I hope I run into him. I would really like to meet that guy. And lo and behold, I pedal out onto the Esplanade for the very first time and look to my left. There's Pink Heart Camp. I walked over there. Rode my bike over there. Boom, saw Halcyon. He was the first person I talked to. And I remember like saying, this is my first time out here. This is, wow, like big. He was just like, yeah, it's mind blowing. Like just the look that he gave me, like he knew what I was in for. And it was just such a great time. But just being present in that moment, being able to see his face, and it was like he didn't really have to say anything for me to understand what it was. Like he was telling me so much shit, like so much stuff, and he, without any words, and I was just really in tune with just standing there covered in dust, right? I'm just figuring out how to get my bearings around the place, and just a couple of words said 1 billion, And I think that's because I wasn't worried about the future. I wasn't worried about the past. I was just enjoying what was happening around me. So I also wanted to talk about a little bit about, this is the second Tumblr post that I posted about a year ago. And it was about an experience I had. One of my first experiences with dimethyltryptamine, or DMT as they like to call it. One of my favorite psychedelics, and if you haven't experienced it, your time will come when it is time. But this is a post that I had written after my experience, and I believe it ties into our topic today of being present and just really enjoying who you are right now. So the post goes, it takes courage. So much fucking courage. My palms sweat and my breaths grow shallow. My brain tries to throw every bit of discouragement it can. I try to shake it by remembering it's just a biased survival filter I adopted through evolution. Courage, you coward. Just 3 long tokes to break the fears and be engulfed in a radiant, bright love. Psych yourself out and you delay the inevitable arrival. You're in your head and you're not on this hillside. Just be. Breathe. Open and push yourself farther than ever. Courage and music overtake me, and I go for it with all the courage I can gather from reflections of my past psychedelic training. The scared, naked little infant monkey I am, like the scared, naked little infant monkey I am, I say aloud, please love me, please be gentle with me. Last normal breath. 3 tokes. Boom. I'm there. Congratulations, Ethan. You've done it. We're so happy. On the hillside, my body remains still sitting, but my consciousness has moved to an amazing place. Where? Don't know. There is no words our species has for it. In the words of Terence McKenna, death by astonishment. For the first time, I understand love as a verb. Expression, a burst of unbiased radiance, a place, a state of mind. Funny how I used to think it was a feeling I get or give. It's more than that. It's you. I felt so alive. With no recollection of any fear, I learned we all have the universe inside of us. And all the courage that ever was or will be. You just have to believe it. My eyes flutter back open, and I'm back. For minutes after, I forgot I had the ability to speak. I feel so light and bedazzled. Not a single blade of grass or slightest dimple in the surrounding rocks are left from my appreciation and gratitude. Still a naked monkey on a dirt ball, spinning in the galaxy, I'm left standing on the hillside with an unshakable belief that everything is going to be exactly the way it should be. Courage to you all. So I know I kind of stumbled through that. I got to get used to reading out loud. So let's talk about that for a second. I remember that experience very well. It was very vivid. I still have trips, and by trips I mean psychedelic experiences that I still think about. Like almost every day it pops into my brain, and I find when I'm taking life a little too seriously, if I can just think of those things, it kind of lines me back up, because it's like, oh yeah, none of this really matters. Like, right now what you're doing is all that matters. Like, what the future holds and what the past held are nothing. It's eternal, but right now is where, the rubber meets the road. And that thing that I had said about, love, it's a verb, right? A verb, expression, a burst of unbiased radiance, a place, a state of mind. It really is. Like, if you line yourself up right now and react out of kindness, then everything just works out. It's so hard to do that. I got cut off today in the car, and I just lost my shit. Like, so I'm not perfect. Like I said, just a scared naked little monkey on a dirt ball is what I am, and I'm still trying to figure this stuff out too. But it's funny how these points of being present and aligning with love, it's funny how these points are the truth, but we have been cultured so much to make decisions out of ego, and then also our brain is it's a survival filter, so it's doing what it can to keep you alive, and any kind of change or growth, it shuts it down. It doesn't want you to work. It doesn't want you to do any of those things. Like I said in a past episode, you got to really get familiar with that narrative. You got to get used to that little voice inside your head and know when to ignore it and be able to make a decision against it. Being present. That's what this whole thing was about. Being present. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this as much as I do. This is the 4th episode. Episode 4. So 20 minutes a day for 365 days. I hope you guys enjoy this. And please feel free to follow me on the Anchor app. I throw a little bit of music up front and at the end of every conversation. I can't do that on YouTube due to copyright, but you can also find me on YouTube at Closet Talk with Ethan. Also, feel free to email me your stories, your experiences with being present, and have you noticed a difference? does your day seem a lot better when you're fully aware of the day and present in the day? And how, when you're not present in the day, how does it affect you? Do you notice anything different about your day when you're daydreaming about other stuff? I know I sure do. So feel free to submit your stories, your replies, or any kind of comments, or how you think I can be doing better with this podcast. How I can make it more interesting for you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting me. And until the next one, just remember, be a part of the present moment, because you never know what you will be longing for in the hoax of the future.